It's not quite Halloween time without at least a little bit of Stephen King. Today I wanted to talk about a Stephen King classic. It's called Cujo. This is an excellent horror thriller from the mind of Stephen King. I believe this is one of like the movies that was like one of his like complete blurs where it's like, well, Stephen, let us know how did you write Cujo? Well, I had about an ounce of coke, and over the weekend I woke up and it was done. So one of those kinds of deals, and definitely like with any Stephen King novel uh, to film adaptation, there's going to be some major differences. Essentially, what this movie is about, it's about a killer dog, a rabid dog that is terrorizing a mother and her son in a broken down car. In the film, the dog is rabid, and we see in kind of the opening scenes, it's kind of finding its way into a little bit of trouble, and like there's a little kind of cavern kind of thing with bats, and we kind of get the idea that okay, well, rabies, that's it, and that's what causes it. Meanwhile, in the novel, I think like the dog like had sex with Satan or came from Mars or some weird Stephen King shit. But here it's pretty straightforward, and I think for what it's worth, it works quite well just with that simple fact alone. And the thing is, this movie is expertly done as it is. I don't really think it gets too much. Credit for being one of Stephen King's very best. Like, you'll say, oh, well, what are the best Stephen King movies? You'll go to Carrie or The Shining or a lot of people, I guess, will now say It, the 2017 version, as kind of the best and most popular, well-received, loved Stephen King adaptations. But Cujo, while it's not like an epic tale in any sense, it's a great thriller, and kind of the way it's constructed, I think, works in a legitimate and effective way, where we do have Dee Wallace. She's in the lead role, and she's had like a great kind of horror career in and of itself. The Howling, The Hills Have Eyes, E.T. I mean, that terrified me as a kid, but anyway, she really gives a great performance, and she's kind of the centerpiece performance of the movie, and kind of what makes it work is that the terror of the film with Cujo attacking the child and the mother, it's built on this foundation of kind of just this family drama basically. That's what it is. It's a mother who's having an affair, and the husband's catching on to it. Meanwhile, the husband's having work troubles. He's created this advertisement for a cereal that's giving kids, I don't know, like I think internal bleeding is what it is. So the kids are like puking up red dye and stuff, and that's the whole problem for the husband. So he's away and off of this stuff, and all this kind of drama. But then what it amounts to, the husband takes the car to go to the business meeting. Daughter and the son, Tad is the son's name. He's like, I don't know, like a 5-year-old, somewhere around there. They're going off to get the car fixed, and boom, the car breaks down, and the crazy Cujo killer dog, Saint Bernard, foaming at the mouth, starts attacking them, and he won't leave because it's kind of on his home turf. And so we see, a lot of effective hints along the way that Cujo is a danger. Like, I believe it's the mechanic or just some random, hillbilly guy, where Cujo's like following him around, foaming at the mouth, and the guy's like, come and get a Cujo, or whatever, and like kills him, and all that's really good. So it establishes quite well that Cujo is an effective threat. And for what it's worth, whatever effects they've used, like obviously this isn't like a modern movie where like if the movie was made today, it'd be a CGI dog. It would have all these kind of impossible movements, but here it's kind of limited to one stunt dogs, two possibly puppets, maybe like a few shots here and there, and little people in suits, stuntmen in suits. So they do an effective job creating all that, and really what it amounts to is the tension that's built up in this very claustrophobic setting of just the car, where there's this danger lurking outside and it's going to kill you. So I mean, it works on that level. Of course, we get some breather scenes of a little bit of police procedural, looking up the missing wife and son, and back with the husband, kind of like sensing that something's wrong. He has to go check on his family and things like that. But for the most part, it's really claustrophobic, really tense, and just a classic kind of Stephen King tale where we do have humanity and human flaws, all that contribute to the story. One thing that's kind of interesting, and here's where I'll give away sort of, well, yeah, definitely spoilers. In the novel, I actually have read it, but it's been a while since I have. But I'm pretty sure, because I remember reading an interview too, that in the end of the novel, the child Tad, he dies. I think from dehydration, and I think it was King who said it was one of his biggest regrets of writing, if he indeed remembers it after his coke fueled typewriting session. But here in the film, I think they had the good sense to keep the child alive, still create tension and thinking, wait, is the kid dead? Is he not? What's going to happen? Things like that. But they let him live, which is fine, I guess. I mean, again, I'm not a big fan of child actors, and this one's kind of annoying. But he does okay. I mean, he feels like a natural kind of little kid performance, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't feel too actor. He feels like a regular annoying kind of kid in the movie, which I guess works well enough. But really, the highlight here is Dee Wallace and a wonderful, wonderful performance. She really sells it. And I'd say, aside from the Stephen King story, aside from the scary dog, the reason you want to see this movie is Dee Wallace and her great performance. Because, without this effective performance, it's a stupid movie about a dog, barking and chasing around a stagnant car. So there's a lot riding performance-wise. So you can have all the great effects you want. You could remake this movie with like the most advanced special effects technology, using like CGI dogs, which is a terrible idea, but it's not worth a damn without a good performance. So I mean, that's Dee Wallace's gift to us. I don't know. It would be interesting to see it remade, though. I mean, since they're remaking it, and with everything else, with the success of it, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more Stephen King remakes. Do you think this one should be remade, or do you think it's fine the way it is? I'm surprised this doesn't come on too many lists of absolute best Stephen King works. But I mean, come on, it's October, it's Halloween time. You got to check out Cujo if you haven't already. And if you haven't in a while, it's worth revisiting. It's not a movie you can watch every day, but it's one of those movies like you kind of forget how good it is, and then once you watch it and really get into it, it's really intense and really, really entertaining. So I love the movie. That's my review of Cujo. Thank you very much for watching. We're still doing the 31 Days of Horror here on the channel. Stay tuned for more horror movie reviews, and until next time, I'll see you later, and stay scared.